Are you tired of all the dating games, rules, and societal norms that make falling in love confusing and stressful?
Then join us as we ditch the script and empower you to establish healthy, conscious relationships.
This weekly podcast breaks down popular dating reality television and educates you on healthy versus toxic dating habits.
I'm Brianna, a licensed therapist.
And I'm Alex, a trauma-informed and certified narcissist recovery coach.
Are you ready to ditch the script?
Oh my God.
I love it. Hey.
What up?
Hey. What is up? Better
The
question.
ceiling.
What's down?
My energy.
My
My energy is on reserves right now.
Yeah.
I have been sick twice in less than a month, and I'm not
Ugh.
okay with it.
No.
Not okay with it.
No.
I want to blame the desert heat waves, and if I'm being really honest, it's probably more likely stress. But
Yeah. I was
a
going to
little
say,
bit
your
of column
hustle,
A, a little bit of column B,
your hustle and grinding. So there's that.
and resting in between all of it, or at least
Yeah.
trying to.
Trying. Yeah.
I'm doing it.
Absolutely.
I'm doing it.
You're
I should
doing
give
it.
myself more credit. I am. I'm honoring my
Yeah.
fucking needs, even when it's
That's right.
uncomfortable to honor my needs.
That's right.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
Good for you.
How are you?
I'm good. It's Sunday. I've been ignoring emails. I gotta get back to it. I gotta be like,
Fucking hate emails.
I
Yeah.
know. I don't get a whole lot. My last job, I used to get like 100 a day. And
Yeah.
now I get like 7 a day.
Can't be
and a lot
bothered.
of them are just like spam. But like I've had a couple referrals. There's something happening that I can tell that I am stressed and overwhelmed because I will be quite avoidant of stuff. And like referrals are coming in and I'm like, I don't know what to do with you because I like don't have
Avert my
capacity. I
eyes.
don't have space. Yeah. So it's a good problem to have, but it also like it makes me sort of create distance from what's going on my computer. So I need to like get back to it today. So Sunday is not just a recovery day right now. It's also like get organized to make tomorrow a little bit better.
Yeah.
However,
It's like
we took a little
homework day.
break last week.
We did. Did you guys miss us? We
Yeah.
missed you. But we
took
also really needed a break.
We really needed a break, and Alex and I were struggling to figure out what we felt passionate about covering
Called.
next. Yeah, we wanted to, because like, okay, I'm just gonna spill some tea. There's obviously a new Bachelorette season that's unfolding as we speak, and like timing would have
Yeah.
worked out really well to just pick that up right after the
Yeah.
Ultimatum Queer Love was done. I had such a good time with the Ultimatum Queer Love that like it felt really shitty to like switch over to this very
go back to the
heteronormative. Yeah.
Yeah. So we wish you luck, Charity, but we're not watching. Or I'm not watching. I don't know if you are, but we're not
I haven't
covering
started.
it on this show.
I'm gonna watch because I like to see
I love
the
her.
idiocy. I like her.
Yeah.
But there's still, and I reserve the right to this humble opinion.
Yeah, you do.
I like her. I think that she's a good and decent human being. I am not excited about the idea of her as a bachelorette.
Ooh, how come? Tell me more.
She doesn't make me feel, I don't feel entertained by Charity.
Okay. Cool.
And I think my preference is for like a bachelorette. I want to be able to like laugh with them.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that the show's going to paint her in such a gorgeous, beautiful,
Of course.
and quirky,
Yeah.
fun way. And I could probably start watching the season and totally eat my words. But
We
I
don't
just,
know.
the idea of it, I was like,
Yeah. Yeah. Can I tell you something that's kind of funny?
yeah.
When we were talking about emails, this is such a left turn.
Yeah,
When we were talking
I
about
love it.
emails, I pulled our Dish the Script email up just to see if we got anything. And this is like, if anyone knows anything about our show, This person's trying to pitch us like, let us help you blow your show up like the Ben Shapiro show.
Oh no. I don't really want to be modeled after the Ben Shapiro show.
Precisely, which is why I'm like, do you know your audience? Do you know who you're pitching to right now? Because it's not us.
It's not us,
sorry.
girl.
I had to share that because I pulled up this email and I'm just like, wait, what?
This is not for us.
Charity. Yeah, I feel you. Like, I think there was one episode where we kind of saw Charity come out of her shell a bit, and I live for that, and I love that, but I feel you on, like, is she gonna be fun to watch? Is she not? We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So we decided to do instead, and we really thought about this, is we decided to choose Love is Blind Japan.
Yeah.
Or how we're calling it, Blind Love in Japan.
Blind Love Japan. Yeah. Thank you for you know who you are inspiring that. Yeah, I am loving this so far. I'm loving it so far. Just because it's mind-blowing to me to go from, like, what we are unpacking regularly, which is very Americanized television, to a completely different culture and see just how drastically different people approach these shows. Like, not even just relationship, the show itself.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, I'm really excited to jump into this with you and, like, y'all watch with us. Watch with us.
You really should be watching with us. It's a really good show. First of all, this we're going to, like, unpack the show soon. We're going to talk about something else in a moment, but, like, the sets are amazing. The living quarters are gorgeous. Like,
yes.
If you are just at bare minimum passionate about interior design and like an Asian Japanese style of living quarters, please watch this fucking show. It's so sweet. And like, they're just a little bit more earnest and honest than we are.
They're more earnest. They're more conscious. They ask better questions. Like,
way better questions.
It was good. So I'm excited to jump into it all. But before we talk about that, I'm going to be really honest and vulnerable with you guys.
Yeah, it's a safe space. And if it's not, get out of here.
Yeah, if it's
don't
not
make
safe,
this space unsafe.
You can just hit pause and go listen to a different podcast.
Yeah, leave.
So, obviously, if you are a regular weekly listener, you guys know I'm in a new relationship. And it's going so well, and I'm so happy. But before Brie and I hopped on, I was kind of sharing with her a little bit about what is coming up for me on, like, the conditioned, anxious, attached self, the part of me. And so, you know, it's like, it's so interesting because we're past the 3-month mark, which is cool. But as I've gotten to know this person more and understand them more and like them more, at first everything was like hunky-dory, like I was fine, anxious attachment stuff wasn't coming up, but now that I'm more invested, there's a little bit of some anxious attachment stuff coming up, and I just wanted to talk about it with you guys because I think that for anyone who is focused on healing and becoming more securely attached, there is so much shame or like self-doubt that can come up. Like, have I not healed enough? What does this mean about me? Am I fucked? Is this relationship is it destined to fail? Because here I am again, having anxiety around things coming up and blah, 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 blah. And so I just wanted to be really honest and kind of share with you guys what's coming up for me and how I'm handling it.
Yeah. I love that you're acknowledging, like, you can embark on a really beautiful and healthy relationship and still have what you like to call, like, your default setting show up. And it doesn't mean anything about you and your readiness to be in a relationship. And it doesn't mean anything about the relationship not being, quote, good enough, that's in air quotes, in order for this part of you to not be showing up.
Yeah, 100%. And honestly, like, I want to make it very clear that, like, this person that's in my life is doing nothing to cause this within me. This is truly conditioned patterns of thinking and belief systems that are kind of coming up and providing, honestly, an opportunity for me to go deeper in the work. And that's really what I want to encourage everybody to do here. Like, the fact that I'm this much into this relationship and these little things are coming up, Brie actually articulated it great. Like, some of the reasons why this is coming up is because of how well it's going. And so that part of me that's enjoying him and us together so much is like, I don't want to lose this. Like, this is so wonderful. And so the way that if I weren't to be as conscious and aware of what's coming up for me, I was explaining to Brie, like, the way that my anxious attachment will manifest is me seeking reassurance in like weird ways. And so what I've been doing is the complete opposite of that with my partner. I've actually been sharing with him, being brutally honest and transparent with some of the fears and thoughts that come up, around just like what I'm experiencing and feeling. And the reason that this is so beautiful and honestly caters to more of an emotional connection with him is because, one, he's extremely emotionally intelligent and mature, so he doesn't run away from me when I bring these things up. He very much turns towards me and is like, just a listening ear for me to like express what I'm feeling and thinking. But also, I don't ever put it on him. It's not his responsibility to console that within me. It's not his responsibility to fix or do anything different, because again, he isn't doing anything to trigger that within me. I'm purely sharing because, and this work is very true for me, you got to try this on for size, but for me, what I've noticed is when I try and hold onto and harbor my own emotions and thoughts like they're a secret and like, oh my God, I'm not allowed to share this with this person, that amplifies the anxiety so much more, because in a way I'm trying to repress it. I'm trying to act like it's not there. And so when I can actually say, you know what, I'm going to choose to be vulnerable and be honest with this person around like, this is what I'm thinking, this is how I'm feeling. And by the way, it's not anything that you're doing. It's like my own stuff, but it allows me to take, it takes the power away from the anxiety that's coming up. It takes the power away from the fear that's coming up. And being able to do that with a partner is so empowering, not only just for myself, but as a couple. And it's just been really wonderful, like in its own way. And of course, like I'm doing my own inner work, like, turning inwards and allowing that part to express and taking the time I need to educate that part and sit with her and just let her know like she's loved and everything's going to be okay, no matter what happens. But it's just, I feel like this is something that a lot of people perceive. Like, I think me being in the industry that I'm in, I think a lot of people can be like, you never struggle with this shit anymore. And that's not necessarily true. It's just the way that I see myself through it is so different than before. Right? Yeah. And I think far too often when we talk about healing and we talk about healthy relationships, there's this idea that like, if you're healed, you're not triggered, you're not emotional. And it's like, no, that's not what healing is at all. It means you're empowered to deal with those things. And two, I think another thing that's misrepresented is that if it's a healthy relationship, if it's the right relationship, you're not going to have any kind of feelings. But there's a difference between someone triggering anxiety within me and me bringing up my own anxiety because of my own fears and limiting beliefs, right? And that awareness is huge, because what I have is like wildly healthy and wonderful, but my own stuff, like, and this is where we kind of get a fork in the road. It's like I have the opportunity here to either self-sabotage, which would be me withholding, me seeking reassurance in other ways that aren't icky, or the path less traveled, and that's the emotionally intelligent path to travel, is I'm actually going to bare my soul to you, be honest, and let you know how much I care for you and like you. And because of that, this is what it's bringing up for me. And that really allows for two things to happen in the relationship. One, it provides him the opportunity to show to me, is he emotionally available? Huge. And two, how does he treat me when I am having emotions come up? Right? Yeah. So it's really been like a wonderful thing to experience. It's been uncomfortable, but wonderful.
I think noticing why it's coming up is so necessary. And I understand that might be really difficult for a lot of people, because you're able to, let's think about why it is that you are able to notice why it's coming up. Most of us might only be able to notice that it's happening and not really sure what's triggering it, what's tripping it up. you've obviously spent so much time getting to know yourself through the use of parts work to be able to like familiarize yourself with these parts of you with a lot of compassion and acceptance that they are a part of you, to be able to be like, okay, why are you here today? You know? So if that is something that you're still developing, what I really recommend people try to do is pick someone who is non-judgmental in your world to just like, la 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 la. Like, I need you to word vomit it and talk about it. Like, this is how I'm feeling and I'm not really sure why and blah, blah, blah. Like, allow it to be messy. It's going to be messy. I'm sure in other earlier parts of your work with this stuff, it felt incredibly fucking chaotic, messy, and disorienting, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Pick someone who's going to be able to hold space for you to be able to like say all of this, and someone who's going to be able to be like, we're putting on our little night vision goggles and our little headlamp and we're diving in, and we've got our digging tools and we're diving in and we're going to dig and we're going to dig and we're going to dig and we're going to figure it out. It's not going to happen in one conversation. I just recommend like, you don't have to do this alone. You just have to do it with someone that you trust. That may not be your partner at the time.
Yeah. In fact, if this is new for you, I would encourage you to not go to your partner and go to a safe listening, non-judgmental ear, because what I think that this is actually really good. I'm so glad you brought this up. The difference between who I am today and who I was when I started this work is like, I have the verbiage and the ability to articulate in an emotionally controlled manner, because I don't want to say non-emotional, because there have been times where I've like shed a tear or two as I'm sharing, but I'm able to take a breath and breathe and like communicate through that instead of it being like this emotional word vomit onto my partner. And so if you're at a place in your journey where you can get there and you can provide, you know, that kind of communication where you're like, it's clear, it's concise, it makes sense, and you can deliver it that way, amazing. But if we're going to emotionally word vomit onto our partner, that can be very overwhelming for them to help you process. And it might put a lot of pressure on them as a partner, especially if this work for you or both of you is new. And so I agree with Brie, like if it is new, you know, do a lot of that processing on your own with a friend who's safe, again, neutral party, and it can ask really good questions, and then take what you discover from that to your partner instead of the whole kit and caboodle, you know? Yeah. But well, and I want to normalize this stuff coming up. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to bring that up to be able to say, like, if you can identify why it's happening and you notice that your partner is the one who's triggering it, that's a totally different conversation than the one that you just described. Because 100%. The reason why, like, I just want to give Alex her flowers for like doing this and being vulnerable and saying all of these things is because she identified and sat with this long enough to realize that her anxious attachment isn't coming up in response to what her partner is doing or not doing. If that were the case, again, this would be a different conversation that she would be having with her person.
Yeah.
But it's not. So like, she's able to be like, I'm bringing this to you because this is part of you getting to know me. And I want to let you know how I'm doing. If you're asking me how I'm doing, I don't want to lie to you. Here is how I'm doing. This is what's coming up for me. But Alex is being gentle with herself enough to be like, this is where I am in my own process. And I'm still taking responsibility of this. And please know this. Join me. Be gentle with me. Be kind to me. But you don't have to do this for me.
No. Yeah. And like, I don't even think, and again, because I am so self-aware, I don't even think he realizes that until I let him in on what I'm going through. And that's beautiful. Like for him, he's probably like, whoa, I didn't perceive that way, you know?
Right.
But again, for me, it's so soothing to be able to just be like, yo, this is what's coming up. These are the thoughts, and I'm not going to let it self-sabotage, but it's nice to know that you know that he's at least aware.
Yeah.
So, take that and run with it. I hope that was helpful. And for any of you who might be dating again and working on yourself and thinking like, oh no, have I not progressed enough? Does this mean this isn't healthy? No, not necessarily.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Okay, this is how we're going to go about this. First of all, as we said before,
sorry in advance.
Yeah, we're sorry in advance, but also please watch the show with us. This show is so good. We're covering the first 2 episodes. We're going to do 2 episodes at a time. We're covering 1 and 2 today. There's a lot of people, and this is a culture and a world in which Alex and I desperately would love to know more about, but alas, are ignorant American white people. So, putting that disclaimer out there, we are doing the best that we can with the tools that we currently have. I'm hoping that you and I get better. That's my hope. But right now, there's always a lot of names. Yeah, there's a lot of names, and we're really gonna and true to Love is Blind fashion, there's tons of people that you meet in the first 2 episodes, and some of them will become incredibly irrelevant after a while, and it's just such a clusterfuck to try to figure out who am I supposed to be paying attention to right now.
So true. Oh my god.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be holding each other by the hand. Mostly Bree's holding me by the hand because as I reviewed my notes this morning, I realized that they're not that great. They're not that great.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna list.
We're a work in progress.
We're gonna try to have fun with this, but we're gonna list the people. We're gonna give a little bit of the spoilers of who's talking to who, but because those are the references of how we know who these people are, and then we'll go into it. Okay, we have Priya. She's 27. I missed a bit of her identifiers and her backstory, but we know that she's bilingual. We know that she speaks English. I don't know why. I mean, it could be for a lot of reasons, but did you catch anything?
I'm pretty sure she went to school in America for a season, for a time.
Okay.
Yeah.
For a season.
San Francisco's coming to mind, but I might be confusing that with someone else.
I think that's with the other girl.
Okay, but that's okay. We're admitting faults here. I'm admitting that it's not perfect. Just I know San Francisco's going to come up.
Yeah, and now I'm going to name who you're talking about. That's Midori. Okay. And Midori is 30. She was the one who she's I would date with a checklist. Yeah. Cute Bob. I love her. She is the dog, Lupin.
Yeah. Yeah. Which all I could think of was Professor Lupin from Harry Potter for my, go Hufflepuffs. Anyway.
Honestly, wait. Pause. Go what? Hufflepuff.
I'm a Hufflepuff.
Go Hufflepuffs. I also am a Hufflepuff. Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, I'm a Huff. And I'm not even a Harry Potter, and I'm not even an HP World stan. Listen, you can take me out some other time, folks who are. But every quiz that I've ever taken that has been what house are you in has led to Hufflepuff. I identify with Hufflepuff. I am Hufflepuff.
Yes. There you go. I love it. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Represent.
Okay. She can also speak English.
She can also speak English. She just
doesn't do it a lot.
Right. She works for an American company, but she works remote. She has lived in she lived in, one of them went okay, so the guy that she was talking to, Wataru, someone was living in Illinois and one person was living in Ohio. I can't remember who was living where.
Wataru was Illinois.
Okay.
Wataru.
He was Illinois.
Wataru.
And Midori was living in Ohio. That's where she went to school. They were talking about San Francisco because they have this IT tech startup connection.
Of course, probably. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So there's a bit of a love triangle between Priya, Midori, and Wataru, and we'll get more into that later. But just to wrap up that triangle, Wataru is 38, tends to attract women because of his job. So he clearly makes a lot of money, and he wanted to be on the show because he was I want people to get to know me and the person that I am. And I was respect.
Fuck yeah. Love that.
I like
Completely
him.
Agree.
I like him.
Me too. I like a couple of the guys on here. For real.
I know, me too. Okay. This is the first reality dating show that we've covered where I haven't hated most people.
Wonder what that says about us. Meaning the United States.
Yeah, Americans. Yeah.
Yeah, Americans.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Let's talk about a couple people that don't come into the play until later, but Kaoru.
Okay, great.
Listen,
I don't have any notes on them.
Okay, so
notes on them.
Alex is I don't know what gender they are. Kaoru is a 31-year-old female identifying musician, and she gets to know the Kenyan baseball coach Misaki
Super
later
dope
on.
dude. Yeah.
He was very cool, right? We don't learn much about him.
No.
Period. But we know that he
Other than
travels a
that
lot,
one
and we know that
combo.
yeah, and it was brief.
Yeah.
So those are two people. Then we have Yudai, who also becomes more relevant a little bit later. Yudai is like a 23 turning 24 stud.
Yeah.
Absolute stud.
Musician.
The tattoos.
Yeah.
Hot. He's hot.
Oh no, hair cutter. Is he a hair cutter or a musician?
Yeah, he's a hairstylist. Sorry, you're right. He's a hairstylist.
He's a hairstylist.
Tattoos hairstylist.
He is a stud. Yeah, he's hot.
Stud.
I will say the tattoo on his neck had me rolling on the floor laughing.
What does it say?
It was like what, oh my god, it's so cheesy. It's like that one liner that's like try hard or like live hard, something like that. Something like
live hard, die fast, or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, like something super like kitschy. Yeah.
Oh no.
And I was like, no. Yeah.
Oh, no.
It was funny.
And
it's
in English.
Look, to each their own. In English on the side of his neck.
Oh no.
And yeah, like put it in kanji. It would look cooler. But
yeah.
It was.
Oh no.
I was a little like, oh god.
Wait, you know what's so funny about this?
What?
Is that's coming from two people who intentionally tattooed shit, the word shit, on our bodies.
Look, but it's in French, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it has sentimental meaning. But that's like, look,
So
to
just-
each their own. To each their own. That's what I'm saying.
Put us
like
in
you.
France, and people would be like, "You wrote this in French?"
Yep. Damn
Why'd you do
straight.
that? That's right.
Yeah, so to each their own. I'm not judging you. I'm laughing at the tattoo.
Yeah. Just your tattoo.
Is that okay? Just your
Yeah,
tattoo. Not you as a whole.
Listen.
Not you
Permission-
as a whole. Just the tattoo.
Permission to laugh at mine.
You can laugh at mine. Yeah.
I have this little, like, you know this because you were there, but I have my little
Yeah.
snake on my finger.
Yeah.
And I was on a first date with the person I'm seeing now, and the first day he goes, "What is that, a worm?" He goes, "Is that a little worm?"
That was like a neg. That was like
It was a
literally
neg. And listen,
off,
I love to be negged on a first date. That's how I know we're getting somewhere.
Oh shit. Okay.
Okay, so Yudai, who's young, he finds himself fancying 3 different women who are a little bit older. They're all in their 30s. He speaks with Ayano, who's 30, Nana, who's 32.
Dopest outfits on the show. I love all
Alex
her dresses.
really
I'm
liked
like,
her outfits.
Like, yeah. I just
it,
every
girl.
time she came on the screen, I was like, I want that dress. I want that
Yeah,
dress.
she was cool. And he was talking to Eri, who's also 32. So all of them sort of noted like, oh, you're younger, but they also collectively experienced feeling like he was pretty mature for his age. More on that later.
We'll find out. More on that later.
I don't know a whole lot about the women, those 3 women that I just noted.
Same. Other
Yeah,
than Nana's outfits are fucking awesome.
Yeah, love them.
That's it. Literally.
Okay. Then we have Matomi, who loves chinchillas. She's 27.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chinchillas are fucking cute.
Chinchillas are really cute. If you've never gotten the opportunity to love one or play with one, I feel sorry for you.
Not in real life. I just think they're cute as fuck.
Oh, they're awesome. They're like super fun
Aww.
and cuddly. They'll like get in your little hand and be like, "Doo."
That's so cute. Jax, you want to get a chinchilla for the house?
It's like, you dare bring another animal in here and I will cut you.
He's like, I'm
while
going to
you're
hunt
sleeping."
that chinchilla. Yeah.
So Matomi, she ends up being a person that we get to see a lot of, but just for reference, she ends up sort of dating a bit more seriously someone called Atsushi, who's 42, and a younger guy, or younger than Atsushi, this guy Rotoro, and he's 32 and also a hairstylist.
32, hairstylist, and has bleached tips.
Yeah, bleach
Like
hair.
JT.
He's
Yeah.
definitely got like an alternative style. I
Yes.
don't know what his style would be considered in Japanese culture, but in our culture it'd be
Yeah.
like alternative, kind of like
Yeah. He
edgy
makes
guy.
he makes a comment. He makes a comment that he looks like a playboy at some point. Like he presents like that kind of, I can't remember his
Mm,
exact words, but it's something alluding to that kind of like charm, like I look dangerous, like I look like a
right.
player.
But he's such
Yeah.
a gentle soul.
He's such a gentle soul. But the reason I bring up the bleach tips thing is that's something we see super common here, but I guess it for their culture it's something that's like
Yeah.
way like
Hmm.
whoa, like I guess that's just outlandish is the word that's coming to mind, but I mean I don't think it
Yeah.
is.
A little shocking.
Bro,
A little
you do you.
shocking.
Shocking. There we
Um,
go.
and Atsushi, who's 42, we learn someone who, okay, this was really interesting, but he really he prefers like specific gender roles at home. And it
Yeah.
was so interesting the way that he phrased it. He was like, I see the kitchen as a very a sacred place and a place that I'm supposed to stay far away from. And I was like, that feels like a very manipulative way of saying I want women to cook,
Yeah.
and I'm blaming on spirituality and the
Yeah.
sanctimoniousness of a kitchen to excuse myself from never doing any kitchen work. Period.
Yeah, I agree. That's exactly what it sounded like to me. Like, I feel like he was trying, because basically what he said is like, he's like, I don't cook, I don't want to clean. He wants a housewife. Yo,
Yeah.
to each their own. Was I screaming at the TV? Yes, I was not about it, but that just means that this guy is not the man for me, right? Like, my
Yeah.
partnership roles are way more less gendered and more just equal and partnershipy. Um,
Partnershipy.
but to each their own. Your relationship, it's your rules, it's very much choose your own adventure. If that's something that you prefer, that's something you prefer, but don't be like, out of respect for the woman, I'm just never gonna go in the kitchen. It's like, yo bro, what happens if she's sick?
Mm-hmm.
Is she making her own chicken soup? Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like it felt, I agree with you, it felt like a way to try and make it sound less wild than it is, which I would have had way more like respect if he was like, I know some people aren't gonna like this, but I am a guy that prefers more traditional roles. If he had just said that, I would have been like, all right, yo, like that's
I
fine.
did appreciate that he named sort of in the beginning, like, maybe this is why I'm single because I keep talking about this.
Agreed.
And I was like,
Yeah, and that could be
probably,
true. Yeah.
probably, dude.
Yeah.
So we'll learn more about their little love triangle in a moment. Um, okay, let's talk about Odachi. So we also meet a gentleman named
I like
Odachi.
him.
Yeah, he's 31. He's a comedian, also a
He's my
gentle
favorite.
soul. He's just a cutie freaking patootie.
He really is. His hair is so fun. I
Yeah.
loved his ramen t-shirt.
Yeah.
He just like he's just dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's funny. What I like about him is he's funny, but there's a lot of depth there. Like there's
Yeah.
so much depth there. Because I think comedians get this like kind of rap where it's like they're only ever poking fun at everything and they're always like collecting
Can't
stories
take
just for
anything
their
serious.
yeah, and it's like, any issue that happens in their relationship is made fun of. And I definitely think like that is a stereotype for a reason. I do feel that there are comedians who are like that. Okay, fine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get that vibe from Adachi at all. So I like
No,
him.
he's quite deep, and we're going to talk about why we know that shortly. But he connects with her
Priya
name
a little,
is
and then
Nanako.
Nanako. Yeah,
Oh, he dates Priya a little
for a minute, yeah.
minute.
But
Yeah.
Nanako,
Nanako.
yeah.
And Nanako is 35, an ex-ballet instructor, and she's divorced. She was married at 22, divorced by 23.
I know. I was like, bitch, we need to talk because like we have the same
I had the
story.
same feeling.
Yeah.
And I loved her. I thought that she also just felt like such a sweet angel, but like reserved in a way of like how you can tell that someone is protective of their heart and themselves when they've been through stuff. And they're approaching the experience of meeting new people where they know that their stuff is going to be judged. And so definitely a little guarded, but like sweet, sweet soul.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. There are a few ladies who have had a
Divorce.
marriage and a divorce. And so what I mean, we meaning the ladies who have got married really young and divorced really young. I think the tongue in cheek verbiage we use is it was a trial marriage. Um, but I so related to these women with the amount of shame they carried admitting that. Like
Mm.
I remember feeling like that when I first was divorced and starting to date again. I had so much fear about telling people because I knew they were going to judge me and read into like, well, what does that mean about her? And like damaged goods and all this shit. I have healed from that. Like that now I'm just like, yeah, I'm divorced, take it or leave it. That was such a long time ago in my life that now it's kind of hard to even believe that that was a chapter of my
This
life. Like it
you,
was
yeah.
so long ago.
Yeah.
Um but I really related to the fear and the emotions that were coming up for these women as they were like, "Oh, by the way, there's this thing that I need to tell you about."
Right.
Fuck, that was so real. That was so
Real.
relatable.
So real.
Yeah.
And interesting, we didn't really get to see this play out. Like I'm sure that there was more here that we didn't see, but so we get to hear that from a couple of the women, and they carry that insecurity in a way that is only, and I say appropriate because of the context of our societies. It's not
Yeah.
appropriate that they should have shame about it, but it makes sense that they carry shame because
Right.
of how the rest of our society reacts to it, or it seems like
100%.
that's true in our society as it is in Japanese culture.
Yeah.
So, but interesting because we
And
also know that
probably more there.
maybe, probably
Yeah.
divorce is way more common
In
in our
America.
culture because we just be loving and living and signing it. Yeah. But we also know that Wataru is divorced. And while he talks about it a little bit, and he definitely says it with um like like he's taking it seriously, the information that he's sharing about his divorce, it doesn't feel like he's carrying the same shame as the women who've discussed it on the show so far. So I was just noticing that.
And I feel like there's a little bit of sexism, misogyny that plays
Mm-hmm.
into that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing
Mm-hmm.
out here. Like this is like the parallel this is bringing up is like the idea of like, you know, a man who's had multiple partners is seen as a king, but a woman who has a high like body count is like, "Oh, you're a slut." Like rules for one gender, like stereotypes are okay and the other not. And I feel like it's probably the same as far as the divorce thing goes. It's like the women are over here like, "I have a divorce," and like freaking out and like carrying all this, and he's like he feels like a little bit he's like it was a long relationship, like there's a he provides a lot of tender loving care as he presents this
Mm-hmm.
material, but there's less of a how are they going to think about me insecurity there because he
Mm-hmm.
probably a lot of men don't aren't perceived as like the issue or whatever, I don't know, but
Yeah,
we'll see.
definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so of people that we have left, I think the most notable is to talk about Mori, who is a 37-year-old doctor. He's Korean and living in Japan. He talked about his family is Korean living in Japan. And he was connecting with a young woman named Minami, who's 26, and she said that she's half Korean. She expressed having a little bit of an insecurity about her Korean background. We didn't see them totally flesh this out, but she sort of, you could see that she felt connected to Mori, who
Yeah.
for having that Korean background as well, and was curious if he felt some of it.
So I didn't know this, but I watched this with my partner, and he mentioned that there's a lot of racial tension with
Mm,
Japanese and Korean, and I had no idea. Like I didn't
yeah,
know that that was a thing, and so I just want to name that for anyone listening to the show that might not know that that's a thing.
right.
But that explains because I was like, you know, I was kind of taken it not taken aback, but surprised that there was also this fear and shame around labeling like your heritage. And
Hmm.
so then when that context was provided for me, I understood. But that's so sad. I didn't,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
a
I
bummer.
was like, oh, it is a
I think
bummer.
that I think that it's a good opportunity for the two of them to connect and to be able to like have that in common. It allows for two people that come from similar cultures and know similar experiences of being oppressed to be able to come together and not have to explain it to another person. Does that mean that they're going to be a perfect
Yeah.
match? No. Did it make my heart feel like this is the match?
Yeah.
Yes, but we don't. I think we start to see Maury kind of double back and like really become more guarded and less open, at least
Yeah.
towards Midori. I'm sorry, not Midori. Minami. Okay, I'm trying to see if there's any other important key players.
At this
And
time.
my feeling is no. Those are the big ones. Now, a couple of general thoughts. The age
General
range,
thoughts.
huge.
Huge. Yeah.
There's someone in here that we did not mention because we really didn't see him connect with people. Shintaro,
56.
56.
Yeah. I'm about it. I'm so
Okay.
about it.
Tell me why. Were you like
The other
into
thing
him?
well, no, I'm not like into him as an
Oh.
individual, but I am into normalizing finding longer term relationships later in life. I think America does a really good job of spoon feeding this American dream of grow up, go to school, get married, like, you know, like you it's expected that everyone's going to go to college. It's expected that you're going to get married usually basically right out of college. And it's like, what the fuck? We don't even know who we are at 22. Our brains aren't formed till we're 25. Like, come on, people. Like, can we normalize being like finding quote unquote the one or the partner we want to spend the rest of our life with later in life? Like, I think there's more stability, not only emotionally but financially and physically. Like, there's so many other things that come into play. And I personally believe that when you are at a better place in your life to establish longevity because you're more emotionally mature, because you're more financially set, like whatever it is, that all caters to a healthier relationship. Like, people get, and look, I'm not saying that it's impossible. I know there's people out there that get married young and like they're married for forever. But I do think that, and we've said this on previous episodes, taking a relationship through the growing pains of like finding a career, figuring yourself out, and all of that puts a lot more pressure on the relationship instead of like two individuals who are secure within themselves and know themselves coming together and then developing a partnership from that. And I think that that's what we're seeing more of on this show versus the Americanized show. It's like the American version, excuse me, I burped. It's like, can I take
Love
you
it,
and
love it,
fit
love it, love
you?
it.
Can I take you and fit you into the life that I'm thinking of myself, like, or for myself? Like, that's what we see. Whereas in Love Is Blind Japan, they're asking questions on like, you know, how, like, what are your habits around cleanliness? What do you see like with for your partnership? What do you desire? Like, there's more intentional conversations that are happening from the get-go with these folks. And I think that's partially because a lot of them are older.
Mm, yes. The experience of talking to someone, what are your preferred ways of expressing affection, felt
Yes.
so different. And I understand culturally why that's so relevant in Japanese culture, but
Yes.
it's just such a different question to explore with someone that you're just starting to get to know than what we do, which is feels like what you just like described. It's like, I really want like the house and the dog and the dinner parties and the blah and the blah and the blah, and like, are you willing to be exactly what it is that I'm looking for? And we are, at least I can only speak from the experience of being an American, but like, we are so desperate to feel loved and chosen that we will go so far into our people pleasing tendencies to be like, yes, I want exactly the things that you want. Choose me, choose me, choose me. Oh my God, I can't believe that you just said that you wanted those things. I want those things too. Choose me, choose me, choose me. And it's like, we see that a lot on the Love Is Blind, our show, where it's like, yes, there's conflict. Yes, there's differences in what people are looking for. And that will definitely like come out in the wash. But in those earlier stages, it's all just very like giggle, giggle, giggle. Oh my God, me too. Giggle, giggle, giggle. Oh my God, like I feel exactly the same way. Oh my God, are you reading my diary? Like shit like that.
Yeah.
Ah,
I also feel like the American version gets a little bit more sexualized quicker for some reason.
yes,
Like, I
totally.
feel like they start leaning into like sexual innuendos or like sex jokes like in their conversation more. Now,
Mm,
I have mixed feelings about this because I believe that in America we're less sexually repressed. Like, again,
yeah.
totally like making
Still
these.
repressed, but less.
Yes, less. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I agree with that too. So there's a part of me that's like, okay, that's great. But what I don't like about it is that I think a lot of people lean on sexual flirtation because it feels more comfy to talk there than consciously about, like, no, when we're talking about partnership, what do I need, what do I desire, that feels
Yeah.
more vulnerable than poking fun at like a dick joke or that's something, that's what she said, like whatever, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we see less of that with Love is Blind Japan, which I really appreciate because they're keeping it more conscious. So I'm just curious. It's just so fascinating to me to see where their lens with where they're perceiving this entire experiment is coming from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Totally.
just different.
It's also culturally informed, and
Yeah.
I just like what's happening, because it feels like they're getting to the heart of. I'm very curious to see what the success rates. Sorry, I shouldn't say success. I'm very curious to see the rates of who stays together from this show, which I'm sure is informed by so many different factors and not just what we're talking about right now. But they are talking about stuff that has way more to do with who each person is and what they feel like they need and what they like and what they don't like. They're not even talking a whole lot about future stuff, period. Just like, this is how I like to express affection. I'm a needy person. Like, the amount of times someone described themselves as like, I need a lot of attention, I have a lot of needs in this way, was so interesting because we don't express it that way, and we don't like to say it, period. We have so much shame around saying that I'm a person with needs. And instead we're just like, what kind of person do you need me to be? I promise I'll be it. And like, I want like the 4-car garage and like 6 Bentleys like parked out front type of vibe. That like, our priorities are just in totally different places. They're not none of them are bad. I'm just saying that there might be one version of these early dating experiences, especially without being able to see each other, that could lead to more meaningful relationships than the other.
Exactly. Meaningful, stable, secure. So many adjectives we could throw in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk about the gossip. Let's talk about the tea. Well, It's not real tea because it's not like we're talking about like what's happening outside of the show's filming, but tea and what we see in these episodes, because we're not on spoilers.
No.
Okay.
We're dodging them.
Let's talk about a happy one. Let's talk about Adachi and Nanako.
Yeah. Okay, so Nanako is one of the ladies that was divorced early.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's I just like them. I like, what I really like about Odachi is like every time that she's bringing up some kind of insecurity, we see a few of the couples do this. He starts to be like, to me, it's a plus. Like, you have more clarity on what you want in a partner. You know what I mean? Instead of being like, ooh, that's, how do I feel about that? He's just like, okay, I understand you see this as a weakness or something that's a problem, but that's not a problem to me. And this is what relationships are all about. And if I could give my 23-year-old any like self a piece of advice, it would be that it's like, stop, you're over here tripping that someone's gonna judge you because you're divorced. The right person isn't gonna give a shit. They're gonna be like, you know what, I see that as a plus because like you've learned from it in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
So for anyone out there, I hope that you take that, like, and that goes for everything, how much needs you have. Like, I need to cuddle more, I need a lot of physical, I need this or that. Nothing is too much for the right partner.
Deep.
And true. I just love that Odachi provides that for Nanako.
Also, what was significant that stood out to me about him is that he would hear what Nanako would express in regards to her experiences. She didn't give him everything. She tells the cameras directly about her ex-husband having a gambling problem and how that's impacted her, and she doesn't go too far into it. I wonder if they talked more about it before they like continued to see each other, but she did say like, gambling is sort of an off limits thing for me. Like, I'm okay with like measured experiences with gambling, but it can't be like a passion, a hobby, like a
Right.
regular thing. And but what I appreciate about Adachi, and this clearly, it's interesting. Like he starts to notice that he is developing affection for her, because when she talks about how she's feeling, he'll leave and reflect and be like, I want to make her feel better. Like she's sad. I want to make her like he's noticing that he's finding himself drawn to taking care of her, and not in like a wounded soldier. This person needs so much and is only receiving affection and affirmation through being a person who's in need. It's not attention seeking at all. She's just purely existing, and he's finding himself really dialed into her emotional experience and wanting to participate in like making her feel good. So I just wanted to really differentiate that.
No, you're good.
And what I also appreciated about him is that she would tell him about stuff about her, and then he would sit and reflect and think about it and think about his own thoughts. He would notice what his thoughts were like when they first came up, and then he would continue to marinate on it. And then he'd come back and be like, this is what I was thinking, and this is how I feel now. He was like, you don't have to be embarrassed or ashamed about you having been in a marriage that is no longer here, or being older. Like, I could tell that it seems like you feel insecure about these things, and I just want you to know that this is something that I've thought a lot about, and I don't see them as bad things, and they mean nothing to me in the best way possible. And you could see how emotional that made her, because it just spoke directly to probably the parts of her heart that feel so guarded and so nervous that that's what's going to take her out in every possible relationship.
I think people are so hard on themselves.
Totally.
Like, we're conditioned to be like, oh, this is what's wrong with me. This is why I'm not good enough. This is why you're gonna judge me. This is why I'm insecure. And it's like, with the right people, and like, honestly, we all have our shit and we all have our thing. And I love, again, thank you, Adachi and Nanako, for leading by example, because at the end of the day, relationships that are meant for us are like this. They're supportive, they're comforting, they provide a space to express in a very safe and supportive way. And it's just like, I'm so over people being hard on themselves about shit we've been through or how we're feeling, when it's like we all experience and feel very similar things. So like, can we stop shaming? And like, what the shaming does is cause so much disconnect, not only from ourselves but from other people. So sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. I'm just like listening to you, and it's like, oh my god, they're so sweet. This is what we need more of in the world. Okay.
I think that that's beautiful, and the thing that I want people to realize, as you named, everyone has their shit. Everyone has the things that we feel insecure about, that we think is going to be the thing that leads us to the experience of rejection. Exactly. Rejection and abandonment every time. And while that may be true in some cases, because we are and will never be, nor should we ever be, for everyone, the right people won't care. And it's not because they're special people. It's just because they don't give a fuck about it. What I want people to try to internalize as we're talking about this is like, do not be the person that puts your insecurity on blast and puts it on other people and expecting that that's why they're going to leave. Because if you really look at that conversation that you're having with yourself, you're like, they're going to leave me because I'm divorced. They're going to leave me because I'm divorced. No one has said that. You're just making that
story up. And then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly.
And then the cycle continues because of the own self-sabotage. Oh, man. Yeah.
And here, and away we go. And around we go. So it's like, give yourself the opportunity to be courageous enough to bring as much of your whole self as you're comfortable to the table when you're meeting new people, and allow people to prove to you that they deserve to be trusted. Yeah. And they deserve to see your insecurities and express to you with compassion and consideration that they truly couldn't give a shit that you're divorced, or that she's like
Whatever.
4 years older than him.
Yeah. For real.
Whatever.
Oh, man.
Okay. We'll cut to the
Next.
end of their experience here. They get engaged.
Oh, yeah, they do. Wait, he like puts a bunch of roses in her room and
Oh,
like the
yeah.
stuffed animals, which were a little weird to me, but that's okay. Like I
Maybe
feel like
she
it
liked
was
it.
it was a conversation they probably had that we didn't see. Because as
Yeah.
we know from Love is Blind here in the US, there's a lot we don't see.
Yeah.
So she accepts. It was super cute. And then when they meet in RL and they see each other for the first time,
Very
it was
cute.
so cute. It's so cute. They like bow to each other, and then he's just like so taken aback by her cuteness. And he even says
Yeah.
that he's like, "You're the cutest thing ever." And then he proposes again. And what I thought was so cute is he's proposing and the box is upside down, and she notices it, and she's like, "The box is upside down." Like she's trying to help him. It was just cute. It was just so
Yeah.
cute. Like the two of them
Yeah.
were so like bashful, but in like the
Yeah.
most adorable way.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was like mutual too. I also
Now
love that he would
kiss.
like, yeah, he would hug her. And then I think she like tried to pull away. He was like, no. And they just
That's
hugged
so
a little
cute.
bit more. Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah, I think he's smitten. And she described him as like a little teddy bear. She was like,
Teddy
he looks like a bear. She was like, but I like people who look like bears. So, like, yeah, it was cute.
They're so cuddly. Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
Maybe I should. Where am I at my cycle?
I'm at the cuddly phase. I'm at the teddy
I'm
bear
at the
phase.
follicular phase, the ovulation phase. Okay.
Okay.
Who's next?
Let's talk about Matomi and Atsushi and the Rotaro.
Okay. Cool.
Rotaro. Taro.
Word.
Rotaro.
Yeah. So
Definitely certain that I'm saying this wrong.
that's okay. We apologize. Thank you for our grace.
Yeah.
Or your grace. With Atsushi, I really feel the conversation is so like, and again, this might be editing, this might be what I remember, but it felt very much he was listing like, this is what I want in a relationship, and like Matomi didn't get much room to really speak up for her desires. Now again, like I said, could just be the way they edited it, but it just felt like she was listening to like what he wanted, and there was less of like a back and forth camaraderie type building conversation, whereas with Rotoro we see the opposite. Like they're more friendly, they're more like back and forth, they're more what do you want, what do I want. And so that was that. Do we want to go to the part where he shares what he wants, or do you have anything to add before I go to that? At Sushi? Okay.
Go there.
So
I'm on your
at
train.
Atsushi says to Matomi that he is very much like wanting the traditional roles where like he wants to be the breadwinner, like he wants to be able to go out and make the money, and his wife to like keep the home hunkered down, clean, cook, whatever. And if I'm being honest, when they show us Matomi go to a friend in the ladies' quarters to like share with her friend like what she just learned, and the music that was playing, I couldn't tell if she was disappointed or happy about it, because it was like some plinky plunky happy like and she's like but her body language is like this. She's like, he told me, like she's grabbing her head, right? Which to me is like somatic container work. Like she's popping out, and so she's trying to control her. She's like putting pressure on her head to like keep her energy in her body. She's like, so Sushi just told me that like he wants to make the money and like his wife to stay home and like be a housewife, and like, and then like there wasn't ever in that conversation like, okay, well, how do you feel? It was just like, that's just what he wants. Okay.
Oh my God.
But she
Talk
does
about
say,
blue ballsing my experience in that moment.
I know, but she does say, I think right at the end, like, so it's Rotaro. Like, I think she, like, in that moment made some kind of, it just wasn't definitive.
Then we
it didn't
kind
feel
of never
definitive.
really saw anything else about Atsushi after that.
No, they didn't, like, have a breakup. Like, usually we see the breakup combo, at least in
Yeah.
America's version.
Yeah, totally. Because it's juicy and it's usually dramatic. But yeah, it
Yeah.
was hard to tell. And I was even paying attention to the friend's facial expressions as she was listening. Because at first she was like, whoa,
Ooh.
oh,
Yeah.
ooh, yeah, ooh, oh, okay. He wants to make all the money. And then it kind of switched into this supportive, like, maybe my friend wants this. So I'm going to, oh, okay. Well, that's interesting that you like, that would be good. He wants to, he's
Yeah.
a traditional guy. Okay. So he would want to make all of the
Yeah.
money. But you can hear names. Matomi. You can hear Matomi be like, I would get to do everything that I want. I get to like, but I would also be taking care of the children. And I don't know if it would be reasonable for me to say that I'm ready to sign up for doing everything for a household the entire time. And in my head, I was like, just because someone says that they're going to be the breadwinner and they're just going to focus on working and making the money, and you are the person that's responsible for the household and the children and the life stuff, doesn't mean that you're actually going to be able to do everything that you want.
Yeah. I
I'm gonna
didn't
need to,
like that.
yeah, I need some fine print on the do whatever you want
Yeah.
contract.
But not only that, like if this guy also wants kids, which I don't know if we really heard them have that convo, but let's just assume. So it's like, so she's gonna be the stay-at-home mom who cooks, cleans, takes care of the kids, and you're telling her she can do whatever she wants, meaning she can have a job if she wants to, with what fucking time? Like, you've already given her job. Like, so many people do not understand how much work it is to hold down a house. I have a one
Oh,
bedroom apartment with no children, just a dog, and it's hard enough to feed myself and the dog and keep the one bedroom apartment clean and the backyard, poopless and leaves watered, succulents and cacti watered. like
period. Period.
bro. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like I mean, again, to each their own. Everyone has different capacities, but like I just feel like it's a little, I don't, condescending, dismissive. I don't know what the right word is because those feel really intense, but it feels a little like, and you can do whatever you want. Like, with what fucking time? With what
It's a
fucking time with the
it's
list you've just given me?
it's attaching the benefit to sweeten the deal. That's what it is.
Just like the I respect your kitchen sacred space. Like, okay.
It's within the exact same vein. Hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's not good
Yeah.
for us. And again,
So,
if that's something that you want, great. But it doesn't sound like it's what
suffice
she
it to
wants.
say, no, Matomi picks Rotaro. Great. So here's what ends up happening. They have Matomi is also one of the gals who had a divorce early on in life, and she
Hmm.
was really emotional about sharing it with him and was so relieved when he wrote her a letter saying, like, it's okay, it makes you who you are, like, whatever. Now, here's a question I have. I have never seen these motherfucking boxes in these pods. Does the American version have these boxes, or is this like purely for Love is Blind Japan only? Because if the American version has the boxes, they clearly never use them.
I think that they have had them, and I think that maybe one couple had used them in the past, but it wasn't to pass love notes.
What was it to pass?
I don't remember. Maybe like a little gift or a little like memento. I'm not sure, but because in America, it's like the team will set up the thing that you want the team to set up for your person, the person that you're on a date with. I don't know, but I did think that the letter thing was so fucking cute.
Hmm.
What
Yeah.
did you think?
I think it's super cute too. I think especially um it can be a great tool for communicating things that feel really vulnerable or heavy to
Mm-hmm.
articulate. And so for anyone that vibes with that, like, use a letter, write your words down on paper and share that with your partner. Especially, like, sometimes couples can use this with conflict resolution, where it's like they, like, saying what they need from their partner feels so scary, but it's easier to write them and give it to them and be like, when you're done reading this, let's have a conversation.
Right.
So I just want to, like, I think it's a great tool, and I think that's kind of what Ritoro was going through. I think he was really emotionally taken aback when she initially shared with him that she's divorced, and I think for him it was easier for him to express himself and his thoughts and his feelings in word form instead of sitting on the other side of a wall trying to, like,
Express
talk to a
himself.
wall
Yeah.
and express. So I loved it for that.
Me too.
I really
Yeah.
do.
And
Yeah.
well, and that's how their letter exchanging started, but then it seemed like it kind of became this like
Their thing.
their thing. It
Yeah.
became their thing. And I
Yeah.
kind of liked that because it seemed like it really helped grow their intimacy in a way that maybe they wouldn't have had the same opportunity to. It kind of felt like a Love is Blind hack because you only get as much time as you have in the pods, and you get to use that time however
Yeah.
you want. In America, we use it for a silent disco. In Japan, they use it to write love letters to each other. And I just thought that it was like a cool little way to continue to be able to exchange in their conversation and give them an opportunity to like think, ponder, express, write, receive, think, register, ponder, express, write, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Word.
I loved
good.
it. Can we talk about
They get engaged.
Yeah.
Celebrating, you guys. Let's talk about their engagement. So he
Yeah.
proposes, and then she is like, well, I not need to make sure. So then she has her cute little like, these are 10 things you need to know about me before we get married or like get engaged. And then she basically, after reading off her list, proposes to him. He agrees. It was cute.
I thought that was so cute. I didn't know where we were going on that journey.
Me neither.
Because he proposes and she was like, okay, thank you for your words.
Yeah.
And then she's like, here are some things about me, which I thought was like adorable because they were not like, they weren't too like, what's the word that I'm looking for when you're like critical of self, like self-deprecating. They weren't too self-deprecating, but they also weren't too like glowed up. Like, these are all of the amazing things about me. If you're ready for this, like if this is the kind of woman you're looking for, it was very much like we were saying earlier,
I can be that.
yeah, I like a lot of attention. I'm not too fond of kissing, but I love to hold hands. Like and it was just cute, and it was also cute to hear Rotoro on the other side just being like, yes, yeah, yeah, of course, yeah, these are great. This is totally great. And then when she did propose to him, I was like, that's really sweet. She was like, here are all the things about me. And like, now that you know, like, now do you want to?
Want to marry me? Yeah. It was cute. It was so cute. And so then they meet in real life, and she's taken aback by the hair.
Yeah. Which I thought he looked super fucking sharp.
Me too. I'm like, he's great. Like, what's up? But again, yeah. And so I have hope that like they'll be fine. They'll be able to work through that. I really do. I have hope. So we'll see what's to come with those two. Very excited. Okay.
I need your thoughts on the triangle that we're about to discuss.
Yep. Oh,
Wataru?
I have thoughts.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. Wataru, who's, we said 38, Richie Rich, a self-made professional. And his first date, which was Midori, who we were saying like also experiences. So it's interesting. He found two women that have some Americanized culture about them.
Yeah.
But Midori and Priya. Midori and Priya seem like very different women, but both quality gals.
Yes. Yeah. So Midori identifies very similarly to who Wataru is, meaning she even said that. She's like, I feel like we're a very similar person. I feel like we perceive things differently. I feel like we analyze things, similarly, and analyze things similarly, and all of that. Which at first, I was like, this is it. This is the one. Like, he's into her, right? But then he meets Priya and starts getting to know Priya. And here's all I'm gonna say, and this is what I said Friday night when I watched these, and I'm standing by it. He's not buying Midori donuts. He's buying Priya donuts.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, it's true. And you know what's tough? I didn't want this. Not because I don't like Priya. I just really like Midori, and I want her to be happy.
Too.
And maybe this isn't her guy. But I identify with Midori in this very nuanced experience in this moment. You like someone. You feel like like there's enough there that should just create the
Mm,
connection that's just like, you know,
yes.
like send it off. We're off to the races. Yeah, it seems really good. And you can, in this ever so subtlest ways, you can tell that this person isn't exactly where you are. And you can kind of feel them slipping away a little bit. And you just become so anxious and internally like a little desperate to like
Yeah.
hold on. So you see her freak out in the living quarters, as she should. It's anxiety. There's nothing wrong with her responses, truly.
No.
I just feel for her because I've been there so many times that I was feeling everything that she was feeling. She probably wanted to go outside and run like 15 miles or something.
Yep.
Like she's so antsy.
Let
She's
that
so,
adrenaline out, girl.
oh my God. She needed a pair of running shoes
yeah. Treadmill.
yeah, exactly. Thank you. And you can feel her anxiety come up as she feels like he's not there, but nothing has really happened. She can just tell. And there's something about that intuition of knowing that I know all too well that just feels bad.
Yeah.
And she's so cute. She's so
She's
cute.
so cute and she's so sweet.
Dime. Yeah.
And I still have we don't know who Wataru chooses, so we're gonna find out. I'm at this moment, I'm assuming it's gonna be Priya because again, he's buying her donuts. But we don't know. We don't know yet. So there's a part of me that's still holding out hope for Midori.
Can I get your opinion on something?
Totes,
if you had
obviously.
to identify, is there anything that you notice that would suggest why it is that we see Wataru gravitating towards Priya and not Midori at this stage?
I have a super huge not non-educated guess, just a hunch.
Okay, cool. What is it? I want to know.
Priya has spoken English with him. And so Midori kind of talks about this. She's like, you switch into English to show off. Like she says that, right? Like when she's losing her cool and like is kind of like trying. What she's doing is I think she's trying to appeal to like, this is how well I know you. But I don't think anyone likes to be told you do this to show off.
Yeah.
And so, whereas Priya, I think, is a little bit, she's dipped her toe into English with Wataru, and they've spoken English together, but we haven't seen that with Midori. Do we know, like, again, that's what we've seen, that's the edited version that's been presented, so I'm making this assumption that I think he might be feeling more bonded with Priya because of that experience that they've been able to share. Like, yeah, we've both been to America for a season and we both are fluent in English and fluent in Japanese and we can kind of go back and forth. And I think that might be something that without him being conscious of, he values in a relationship for whatever reason, status, education, the comfortability of it maybe, just because it was a part of his life. And when Midori presents like you flip into English to show off, that I think is not serving her in the way that she thinks it's serving her.
Totally.
That's my super surface level guess. It's just that kind of.
No, I get that. There is something that feels a little bit more natural and relaxed between him and Priya is also sitting back in a way that shows a little bit more confidence in their connection. Like Priya doesn't seem stressed out. She's not also eager to please when she's spending time with Wataru. With Midori, she is giving off like she's being a human being. There's nothing wrong with it, but I think it's like her anxiety that's challenging how she shows up in these moments.
I just had a thought.
Oh, I want to hear it.
Does Midori know that Priya's the other girl that Wataru is talking to? Do we know if she knows that?
It's never named, but she knows that Wataru's talking to another girl because she says a couple of times, she's like, I wish that I liked someone that no one else liked. You know? I think it would be impossible for her to not know that it is Priya because...
Impossible.
It would be impossible because it's like they're all kind of friends and they're all talking to each other. And also, if they're not talking to each other, they're having conversations in the same quarters. You can literally hear. Yeah.
So what
yeah, it
I'm
just seems
wondering
impossible.
is if Midori is feeling extra triggered in her anxiety because she is comparing herself to Priya. But Wataru doesn't know what either of these girls looks like. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But because
Hmm.
she knows what Priya looks like, she's like, "Oh
It's
my
probably
god,
like
I'm
adding
measuring
to
up to Priya." And it's like, "Girl, but he doesn't know. He
it.
doesn't
Hmm.
know." So
Hmm.
like the comparison that you're going down that might be spiking your anxiety 10 times more isn't even relevant to him right now.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm wondering if there's a little bit of that going on for her. If she is aware that it's Priya, that she might be going into this self comparison around, like, oh shit, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I thought about
Yeah.
that. I definitely thought about that. But it's just not named. So it's
No.
hard to confirm. But I would be feeling that way. I would be doing that.
Yeah. 100%.
Um,
Oh my God.
outside of I outside of Midori showing up in a way that probably isn't the most authentic version of herself, not because she's not trying to be authentic, but because her anxiety is like blurring who she is when she's relaxed, right? And regulated. I still think that she is doing such a beautiful job of showing up exactly how she is and using the best language that she has available to her to express what her experience is like and how she's feeling and what's coming up for her.
Mm,
It does include sometimes her calling out Wataru, which I, like you said, it's not having the effect that I think that she probably wants. Um, it's 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 irritating him, it seems.
yeah.
However, all of that is true, or it feels true as we watch it. But I do appreciate where she gets to. We sort of see this at the end of the second episode, which is she sort of has this emotional expression of like, I'm just going to tell you all of the thoughts that I've been having and like where I'm at in this process so far, which I think is good for her to
Yep.
do. She's expressing her interest in him, but she's also saying like, hey, like if this doesn't happen between you and me, if I leave here with no one, like I just I feel so grateful to be here. I've been connected with so many amazing people. The girls have been so supportive. I have had such an opportunity to reflect and learn so many things about myself. And for that, I will always be grateful. And I loved hearing that reflection. And
Yeah.
it made Wataru like really emotional in response. And we don't yet know what it was that hit him about that. I was so curious. I'm like, what is it? Like, are you feeling what she's feeling? Are you sad for her? Are you sad because you know that you're not going to pick her? Are you
Yeah. That's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
are you in love with her? Like, please tell
Let
me.
us know more.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
But
We
I think
don't
you're right.
know.
I think he's crying because he knows that like I think he deeply feels for this person
Yeah.
and he knows that
Yeah.
he's not gonna pick her.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like buying someone donuts is a big step in a relationship.
Definitely in your world.
Oh fuck. It's funny because I was yelling that at the TV and my obviously he was with me at the time and was like, "I bought you donuts." I was like, "Damn straight."
That's right, because it's an important step in my
You know,
unions.
it's not official until there's donuts around.
You've bought me a donut.
Just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, I love
All right,
that.
do we have anything else we want to cover?
No, that's all of the tea. That's all of the hot goss. I'm just really
All
excited
right.
for the rest of the season.
Me too. I'm actually like really excited to watch. I'm gonna have to wait, I think, to watch the next two episodes, which is gonna be hard for me.
I know. I know. I thought about this a couple times. I was like, should I watch them
I'm like,
today?
I'm not gonna watch it right now. Yeah,
I
I know. Anyway, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you leave us a rating or review. Hit those stars, screenshot it, share it to the gram or TikTok, and tag us at Ditch the Script Pod. And by the way, just a reminder, if you're not following us on Instagram or TikTok yet, you should be. Support us. We need it. We want it. Plus, we also just like hearing from you. Like, we like hearing from you. and what you want us to unpack, because I'm curious to know if any of you are hankering for us to unpack Love is Blind Japan. Yeah. And that's it. You can head to our website if you have a question you want us to unpack, and that would be ditchthescriptpod.com. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye, Felicias.
Bye.
We love you.